So, as you guys can tell, I'm in a new apartment. The ceiling caved in on my old apartment. Not the point of the story. We're emergency moved to this apartment, where initially when we got here, we were expecting pretty quick and easy internet setup. We've never really had a problem setting up Spectrum. I have Spectrum internet. Not the greatest of internet, but it's Spectrum, right? Well, I guess it's better here, thank goodness. But normally not the best of internet. But setting it up, transferring it is super duper easy. Like never had an issue transferring Spectrum from any apartment I've ever lived at. Even when I lived with like roommates or lived with my mom, you know, I always had a pretty easy time. This was hell. This was a horror story for the ages, and I think there's two reasons why. One is my apartment manager or apartment lease guy, whatever the fuck you would call him, the landlord, didn't know the address properly and gave us the wrong address. And the second was Spectrum customer service isn't always the best about telling you when they figured out your address and you haven't. So we start moving at around like 3:30, 4 o'clock. We start like loading stuff up, packing stuff in boxes, moving stuff over to the new place. And of course I packed the router. I packed the modem. Because I'm hoping that I can just plug in this stuff and then transfer and it'll work, right? So we get everything in pretty much for the most part around like 9-ish, 9:30. We have a couple other things to do. We still have to get the cats. They're here now. We have to get the cats. But while in the midst of trying to sort everything out, I call Spectrum to get my service transferred. When I do that, what they tell me, I give them the address. The current address that I think it is that this area is unserviceable. They'd have to send someone to survey it because no one's ever had internet with them before here. And I hadn't looked at my phone. I hadn't checked my neighbors, who basically all around me had Spectrum. I said, that's strange. Okay, whatever. All right. I guess I'll see about it after I get my lease. Thank you very much. Goodbye. Right. I call again after I check. Yeah. Happy holidays to you. I call again. After I turn on my Wi-Fi, I notice everyone around me has Spectrum. I'm like, everyone has Spectrum. What's this guy talking about? And I call again, and I give the apartment side, not the street side, because I'm like close to one side, but there's another side where the entrance is. I give that side, and they're like, well, yeah, your apartment complex can have internet, but the number doesn't go up to your apartment number, right? I'm in the hundreds, and they said, oh, well, it stops at 58 actually. Like with the address you gave us, that's where you live, right? And I'm like, yeah. They said, well, it stops at 58. We don't have units up to 100, past 100. I was like, well, that's crazy because I have neighbors with internet all around me, and if I'm in the hundreds, they are too. And so they try to figure it out, and apparently they need my landlord to sign off on a paper saying that this apartment number exists. I'm like, okay, that can't be it. Whatever. I call AT&T. They tell me immediately, yeah, you're serviceable. We can send a technician out and a box out. We can ship it. And I'm like, well, I would rather have it done immediately. So maybe I'll go to the AT&T store tomorrow. Thank you very much. And they told me like the cost of install and the cost of activating service. And I was like, fuck, I don't really want to do it. So please, like Spectrum, let me get this to work, right? So I was like, worst come to worst, I just get AT&T. It's probably better internet anyway, right? And especially because they service my area. They didn't before. I've never really been able to try AT&T internet for myself. You know, I've worked in venues for card games, for fighting games, where they had AT&T internet and it was blazing. That shit was fast. Never had it at home for live streaming, right? But then Marianne made a revelation. I guess there was one more customer service rep, and that customer service rep told me, actually, with the address that I gave him the first time, that someone lived here already and had internet, and that I would have to get them to force cancel it by proving that I live here with my lease. And I was like, well, I won't have my lease because it was an emergency move. My ceiling caved in on my old apartment, and I probably won't be getting my lease until either Monday or the beginning of the year. And he said, yeah, boss, that's like the only thing I can do for you. That's the best we can do, is proving that you moved into that new apartment so we can force a cancel on the old tenants. And I'm like, okay, fair enough, right? Yeah, the ceiling came down on my other apartment. I can show you guys here in a second. It's pretty bad. Yeah, it's on my Facebook. I think it's on my Twitter too. So I call one more time during the first night. After I hook up my box, I hooked up my box from the previous apartment, because they gave me new equipment. This is the modem. I have the router right there. They gave me new equipment when we got all situated. But right now, that's the old equipment. I plugged that in to the wall outlet, the coax cable. Didn't work for about 30 minutes, and then it started working, and it worked out the entire night. I was like, okay, well, it's working. I set up my computer. I got OBS set up. I did all that. Set up my arcade stick shelves. Got the rest of the apartment pretty much as good as we could get it for the night. We didn't go to sleep until like 3:30 in the morning on Friday. It was pretty bad, but that's fine, right? I guess 3:30 in the morning's not terrible for most people, just old people like us. Yeah, it's bad construction plus water damage. Pretty bad. Like the panel started bending and then it all came down. I'll show you guys the picture in a little. In the morning, I streamed. Yesterday morning, I streamed in the morning. And my stream was working just fine. I did speed tests. My speed was amazing. I was like, well, this speed is fucking nasty, right? And I decided I would just stream until it was time to go, until it was time to get stuff done for the day, because we still needed to potentially stop at the AT&T store if it was going to shut off on me. We need to go to the T-Mobile store. That's my cell carrier. We need to pick up a few other things for the apartment, like these curtains and stuff, because these weren't up at the beginning of the stream. These weren't up in the first stream yesterday. The second stream they weren't, but not the first. So the internet turned off on me mid-stream. I was in the middle of a Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and my internet just turned off. Oh, that's weird. Maybe the previous tenant service was working with my box and it just gave out. And then Marianne decides, when I call Spectrum, to look to see that what Google Maps says about where we live. And Google Maps says we're on the even side. They gave us an odd number. For reference, I won't say the street, but they gave us 3133. That's what our apartment manager told us. But it's actually 3130. So I use that number. I'm like, ma'am, I'm not going to lie to you. I moved into a new apartment. I was trying to transfer my service. It wouldn't let me. You can see the notes on my account. I called like 5 or 6 times last night, probably. My new box is working in this apartment, but someone told me this apartment is unserviceable. I think I might have the wrong address. Let's try this one. We give her the new address, and she says, yes, actually, your apartment is serviceable. And yes, we did just shut off the previous tenant for being delinquent, and the tenant before that for being delinquent, and the tenant before that for being delinquent. I'm like, damn, people really don't pay their internet around here. She said, well, you're going to have to prove that it's you, because, of course, like there's at least $1,000 of Spectrum service not paid for at this address. And I was like, well, I don't have my lease yet. Is there another way? And she says, well, if you can have a bill or a statement, or you have maybe a light bill. So Marianne she transfers our light, because we didn't have to transfer our light until Monday or Tuesday. Like, I was like, yeah, don't worry about transferring light, just stay warm for the weekend, get yourselves moved in. Transferred our light to the new address, the 3130, and we went to the Spectrum store. They handed us new equipment, and it immediately didn't work. We tried to get into the Spectrum app, and we were getting an ID error. It would not let us in. Authentication was not working, because we had just made changes to the account at the Spectrum store. New equipment. We needed to get into the Spectrum account to set it up. So I called Spectrum again, where they told me, yeah, no, I think there's something wrong with your line. It's not working. The box isn't getting any signal. And I said, I was just using my old box on this. Are you sure? And they're like, well, maybe because the previous tenant was so far behind on their bill that they just turned off service to the line completely. I was like, okay, well, sure, that's fine. What do we have to do? And he says, we're gonna have to send out a technician Monday. And in my head, I'm like, Monday's a long fucking time to not have internet. Let me see if there's anything I can do about it. He tells me to change out the coax cable, move the box to another coax line. We don't have another coax line. That's the only one. He said it's not getting signal. Yeah. And then I go and do the thing that every tech support tells you to do first. Have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again. I take out the coax cable from the fucking wall and reseat it in the wall. These lights come on, the internet turns on, and it hasn't turned off since. So, moral of the story is, you can't trust tech support. Always do it yourself. And make sure you have the right address. And if tech support finds out that you have the wrong address, they'll forget to tell you that you have the wrong address, even though they figured it out. Because one of the guys told me, hey, yeah, you had service at that location, or someone had service at that location. You have to prove that it's you, not the last person. But he didn't tell me that he figured out that I was 3130, not 3133. But he had figured it out clearly because he gave me the same spiel that the girl told me about the delinquent tenants. Or the delinquent payers. Because they don't care about who fucking lives here. A moral of the story, do it yourself. Okay, fuck Spectrum. In like the nicest way possible, right? They tried their very best. Everything was all fucked up. It's the holiday weekend. They want to have a good time. If niggas work from home, I know they do. I know damn well they do. There's no way they don't. Most of them probably aren't in an office. We're all set up now. We've got the computer set up. We could probably hook up the laptop off to the side over here. Boom, boom. Or over there. Boom, boom. But stream's working good. Everything seems fine. And hopefully we don't have to have a technician here tomorrow. I can cancel it. If this internet never turns off, I'm canceling that. Because it's $50 for them to tell me the same thing that I figured out myself. Did you unplug the coax cable and plug it back in? Yes, sir, I did. Yes, I did. Have a good day. Thank you for charging me $50. Bye. I should apply at Spectrum. Merry Christmas, you fucking dumbass bitch. I hope you have a fa la 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 fuck you Christmas. Hey, happy holidays to you too. I actually don't do Christmas, but happy holidays. Only a Christmas guy. I'm not really a holiday guy, actually. Don't worry. I have like 4 mods here. You should really watch out. My mods are rabid. I don't think they're going to shoot you because, I mean, you didn't seem to do anything crazy. Me and you? Oh, yeah, I told you. My mods are rabid, bro. My mods are rabid. GG's, bitch. Get shot, motherfucker.